Hello and welcome to Path of Building, where I've been spending the vast majority of my day today. We had patch notes drop yesterday, which I went over in detail in a previous video, and you can watch that if you're interested right here, if we can still do annotations. If not, it'll be at the end of the video or somewhere in the description. I don't know. You can find it. I believe in you. I trust you. As well as that, we had the gem details come to light, and with them was revealed Bonechill, which is one of the things that I wanted to build this particular character around. So this is going to be at least one of my starter option builds going into 3.5, and I'm thinking it's at the front of the pack right now. It's kind of this or Dark Pack Totem Hierophant, and I've played Dark Pack Totem before, so I kind of want to step out of my comfort zone and into a zone of chilly terror. So with that being said, let's move into what's actually in front of us here. This is a cold snap build, as you can see, and it's taking advantage of what is, in my opinion, one of the most powerful things added to the game with the patch notes from 3.5, and arguably one of, if not the best ascendancy nodes in the game right now. Frigid Wake is crazy. You cannot be frozen or chilled, you get some multiplier, and you get a freeze on a clock for everything around you, as well as half of Fortify provided the enemy is chilled. And then the other half of Fortify from Malediction, because enemies with Malediction deal 10% reduced damage. So this is, of course, only reduced damage with hits, but Fortify is also with hits as well, so it's an apt comparison. The rest of this build is aimed at taking advantage of Bonechill, which actually, let me pull that up on my monitor over here, and we can transfer over and I can show you the details in case you've not looked at them yourself or you just kind of passed over it. This one right at the end of the list here. Supported skills have increased chill duration, increased chill effect. Actually a pretty generous helping of chill effect. The other sources in the game are between 10 and 20% usually, so 44% is quite a bit. And enemies chilled by supported skills take 29% increased cold damage over time. Now, since they take increased damage, this is a step in the calculations for damage that happens after all of the other ones, which effectively makes it a more multiplier. It's the last step in damage calculations. It's not quite the same as a more multi because it stacks additively with other similar sources, unlike more multipliers. But if you don't have any other sources of increased damage taken of X variety, then this is effectively a more multiplier. As well as that, enemies chilled by supported skills have cold damage taken increased by chill effects. So that means when you chill an enemy, not only are they taking 29% increased cold damage over time, but they're also taking increased cold damage over time, or increased cold damage as a function of how badly you've chilled them. Now, chill, when we're talking about chilled ground, has a minimum of 10%. Other non-hit sources of chill, such as chilled ground, will slow by 10%. So every 10% chill effect that you build is 1% additional chill, effectively putting you from 10 to 11, 11 to 12, and thus 1% more damage. So if we can stack a bunch of chill effect, and it does cap at 30%, that's the maximum you can chill something by, but if we can stack a bunch of chill effect, then we can get Bonechill support to be up to 59% more damage, as well as getting the benefit of that chill, which is obviously to slow the enemy by 30%, which is pretty impressive when you stack it with curse effect temp chains, the likes of which Occultist can get. So with that said, there's some investment in that, in the tree, and it's not even all that difficult to invest into because of the changes to some of these passive nodes. Breath of Rime gives 15% increased effective chill, but also is cold damage multi, has cold damage multi on the way up to it, and even more effective chill. Over here, this was more of a consideration whether or not I should actually stretch for Fingers of Frost, but in the end, I did spring for it, mainly because Bonechill support exists, and Bonechill support is pretty darn good, and that's going to cause this effective chill to be a damage scaler, as well as, of course, the cold damage over time multiplier that we're just getting from the wheel itself. So it's massively efficient if you're using Bonechill support to go for these wheels. But one thing that I don't think many people will do that further supports the Bonechill playstyle, if you want to consider it that, is Blasphemer's Grasp. 8% increased effect of non-damaging ailments per elder item equipped does apply to chill. It is an ailment and it doesn't deal any damage. So that means if we can get elder gear in basically every other slot, which is possible with the majority of this gear, seeing as Blasphemer's Grip and Impresence are both elder items already, then we can get, I believe it was 9 times 8, which is quite a bit of chill effect because each of those 8% is effectively 0.8% more damage, as well as 6 flat life because you get that per elder item equipped also. Now, that's not too impressive per gear slot, but you got to consider that it doesn't really have opportunity cost outside of our glove slot. We're giving up our glove slot to then enhance every other item in our build by roughly 1% more damage and 6 flat life, which is fairly worth it when you consider that Blasphemer's Grasp also has 60 flat life and 50 dex, which is a stat that I'm lacking in the build. So I think it's worthwhile, as well as that Rhyme Gaze is going to be a great budget option. It doesn't actually have it yet, but it is getting 20% cold multi, as well, or cold damage over time multi, as well as the 30% cold damage it has, and level 20 Conk effect for our secondary skill, which is going to be a Vortex setup, getting the innate Conk effect from Rhyme Gaze, as well as just providing some extra oomph for single target. One of the last little clever things, I think, that is being done in this build is Malachi's Artifice is going to be buffed this coming league for full effect of Equilibrium, rather than socketed gems have 25% reduced elemental equilibrium effect. Right now I'm just simulating that by clicking Equilibrium, but this actually won't be on the tree since we only want it for our Malachi's Artifice. And we're just going to go ahead and throw an Orb of Storms in here or something along those lines. As you can see, this is an Elder item. I actually think this will be available to get as an Elder item, maybe not super early in the league, but later on, because people do chance Elder unset rings with the hopes of hitting a Elder Essence Worm, because that activates Mark of the Shaper in Glacial Cascade miners that want to go Mind Over Matter. And as such is worth about 15x, has been this last league at least. So people sort of chase that jackpot, and Malachi's Artifice is the side result of that, because it's also an unset ring. So people might be willing to sell those off for, you know, somewhere in the neighborhood of 1 to 2x rather than like 15, and I won't have to necessarily chance it myself, though of course Carcass Jack and Rhyme Gaze are both chanceable as well. The chess piece slot, I've had a little bit of a tough time settling on a specific option. I initially wanted to go Venomouses, but I felt like the life total was a little too low to just give up life entirely on the chess piece slot. Carcass Jack is the stand-in right now. It is getting buffed. It's going to have I think up to 50% increased area of effective area skills, which is really quite nice after the buffs, and it has life, all res, and some damage. It's just not a bad chess piece. Might be a little annoying to get the colors on, but not really that bad. We have some greens in there already. It might be, you know, 3 or 4 off colors at most. Speaking of which, this is only a 4-link right now, because we don't actually have access to Bonechill, and with all the damage scaling in the tree, we're still looking at 200,000 DPS without Bonechill support, which is what we've built around. You know, Bonechill support, as I said, is going to be offering almost 60% more damage, somewhere in that range. I think it was 59%, 58%, if we can cap Chill Effect, which is quite possible. I'm also putting in effective Chill Hypnotic Eye Jewels. This might be a little bit overkill. We'll see, because you can only get, if you get 200% effective Chill on your base 10% Chill, that puts your Chill at 30%, which is the max it can be. So any amount of Chill Effect over 200%, if you're talking about like the base 10% chill from Chilled Ground, is overkill and won't actually do anything for you. Unless there's enemies in the game with like chill resistance, which I'm actually not certain offhand. And I think that about covers the general concepts of the build. If you want to dig into the specifics much more, I will have a Path of Building link in the description that you can look into. I'm very much open to critiquing, particularly on the passive tree. This one was a little fiddly. There's some wheels that are really, really strong now after the buffs, but are still a little bit out of the way. Things like Fingers of Frost. I've considered trying maybe lopping off this section of the tree and going for Acro, trying to get life down here, and doing something along those lines could be interesting. If you are going to critique the tree, do keep in mind this is not actually going to be on the tree. It's just to simulate the existence of Equilibrium, which I actually don't even have checked right now. So our .dps on a 4-link without Bonechill is actually 254,000, though that's not against Shaper. 140,000 on a 4-link without the Bonechill. It's pretty all right. And, you know, that is on the Cold Snap, which we would have the Vol Cold Snap running, and the Vortex. That is going to be one of the worries with the build, I guess. It has a lot of buttons to press. The pattern when walking up to a boss is going to be walk up to the boss, press Frost Bomb, or I guess Frost Bomb last, press Orb of Storms for Equilibrium from the ring, press Cold Snap, press Vol Cold Snap, press Vortex, press Frost Bomb, and then probably by that time we have to refresh the Orb of Storms because we've cycled through like 5 skills. But they're all worthwhile, and that's actually really exciting. It's going to be a different play style than usual, particularly for bossing, and I'm looking forward to it because all those dots stack. It's pretty cool. Yeah, probably going to be my league starter unless I find something else that excites me more. There's still a few days before the league starts, so I haven't filed the League Start paperwork yet and chiseled it into the stone that sits behind my monitor so that I can decree it to the world that this is indeed my League Start, but I'll get around to that soon, don't you worry. For now, as I said, if you're interested in the build, there's a link in the description, and thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.